In Bristol, England, on September 23, 2015. Mark van Dongen woke to the sound of laughter. But before he had time to process his surroundings, he started to feel an unbearable burning sensation as he heard the voice of his jealous ex cackle. "If I can't have you, no one will." Her intention, to burn and disfigure Mark, who had started seeing another woman. Even though he made it clear he was ending the relationship, he still continued to support her financially. In fact, the reason he had been there that night was that he was genuinely concerned about her well-being. Berlinah Wallace was not coping well with the breakup and would threaten her own life. Only she knows what exactly occurred in those hours to set her off. But it was most likely because Mark was seeking to leave her. The couple met on a dating website for people with HIV, and had been together 5 years. Berlinah had gotten used to being supported by Mark on his $300 a day career as a construction engineer. Not only did she choose not to work, she also felt comfortable sending the money he worked for to her family, to help them build a house. Yet, on September 2, 2015, she bought a liter of 98% concentrated sulfuric acid, intending to disfigure Mark because he made the decision to leave her for another woman. And it was far from a random purchase. 82 entries on her computer demonstrated her knowledge regarding the damage it could cause. Then she chose the perfect moment of attack. Mark was in bed sleeping. Vulnerable. Almost naked. The acid immediately began to burn Mark. Yet, she did nothing to help him. Instead of calling an ambulance, she chose to sit on the sofa and call a friend. In agony, Mark ran out of the apartment screaming where neighbors tried their best to help and called the emergency services. The burns Mark sustained covered 2/3 of his face and a large percentage of his upper chest, arms, and upper thighs. As a result of his injuries, poor Mark spent 4 months in a coma in intensive care, fed through a tube and only breathing via a ventilator. As a result of poor blood circulation, his lower left leg had to be amputated. When he woke, he only had movement in his mouth and tongue and communicated by sticking out his tongue when his father pointed to a letter on an alphabet board. Eventually, he regained the power of speech, through a speaking valve, but was paralyzed from the neck down. He had also completely lost sight in his left eye, and could barely see in his right eye. Instead of choosing to lay in a bed for the rest of his life, he made the decision to end his life by undergoing voluntary euthanasia in Belgium. The doctors who examined Mark van Dongen following his application had approved the procedure because, despite maximum medical support, Mark was constantly in unbearable physical and psychological pain. His euthanasia was scheduled for January 2, 2017. Many believed Berlinah Wallace should have been charged for murder, but she wasn't. She was only charged for the harm she inflicted, which in turn caused catastrophic and life-changing injuries. After carrying out this horrific attack, she spun lie after lie. When interviewed by the police, she sought to blame Mark van Dongen, falsely alleging that he had poured the acid into the glass, intending for her to drink it. Not only did she make this wholly false accusation to police and throughout the trial, she further sought to destroy the name and character of Mark van Dongen, alleging that he was the abuser in the relationship, that he had subjected her to verbal and physical abuse. With Mark van Dongen no longer being alive at the time of the trial, he could not defend himself against any of her accusations. However, former colleagues spoke on Mark's account for him. On many occasions, Berlinah threatened to injure herself and frame him as the abuser if he left her. Mark told colleagues and his father that he was scared of her. He was right to be. Clearly, he had some idea of what she was capable of. Even though he sought to end the relationship, Mark van Dongen continued to provide financial support for her. But that wasn't enough. Text messages sent from August and September 2015 demonstrate the emotional blackmail to which Mark was subjected to, because he wanted to leave her. Berlinah even made 14 silent phone calls to his new girlfriend. She had not been coping well with the breakup, and had been threatening self-harm. He dropped by her flat at 10 p.m. to spend the night out of his concern for her safety. It was just before 3 a.m. that she chose the moment to strike. Only she knows what occurred in those hours to anger her, but this was not the first time she had inflicted injury upon Mark. In 2011, she threw hot water over him. He tried to protect her by telling the doctor he had accidentally tipped tea over himself, but it was obvious what had really happened. The couple was known for having a relationship full of turmoil. Mark had just recently shown his colleagues and his new girlfriend scratches on his body and had told people he was scared of her. Anger had always been a part of her character, and she was aware of it. In December 2013, she told a counsellor at the University of the West of England that she had been physically violent and had threatened or intimidated other people, including her boyfriend. She also admitted she had hit him and thrown things. In January 2014, she spoke to a psychiatric nurse at the same university about controlling her emotions, particularly anger. She described an adrenaline rush when someone said the wrong thing and stated she felt like she could destroy everything around her. In August 2015, she confided in the same nurse about feeling angry over the breakup with Mark. Berlinah spoke of a difficult childhood and adolescence growing up in South Africa. At the age of 20, after being raped by a gang, she found out she was HIV positive. But even with a difficult childhood, nothing can begin to excuse her evil actions. She was heavily charged with Category 1 assault and sentenced to life in prison, with a possibility of parole after a minimum of 12 years.
Please click the subscribe button so you can keep up to date with my channel. Thanks for watching and take care.